Hello everyone, welcome to Channel Peace with me, where our only goal is peace. So this morning I woke up, today is February 3rd, and diametrically opposed came to my head. Have absolutely no idea why, who put that in my head, whatever. I was half asleep, I got my phone, I Googled it, put it into an email and sent it to myself. So when I looked up the definition of it, it basically means on a diameter, so if this was a circle, this would be the radius, and then this would be the diameter. And diametrically opposed means it's from this point to these points. They're diametrically opposed. Anyway, so last night I had dinner with a friend of mine, Mary Mack, and she is the first one who agreed to do in my test group for my urgent program. So thank you, Mary, and anyone else who would like to be, please put in the comments how I can contact you, or email me, or go to channelpeacewithme.com and subscribe to the newsletter. Right? I don't know, contact me. I'm sure you can figure out how to do it on the website. So the reason why I wanted to start again here now is Mary and I watched one of my videos that I'm going to move some of my older videos to a section called vintage videos. Okay, so that's why I wrote that up here. Vintage is probably the wrong word because it implies that they are good or that they're the most highest quality. I did not know it comes from like vineyard, like making wine. I didn't realize vintage actually really comes from wine, and the vintage wine, like the older wines that are the best. But anyway, so I'm going to move some of my videos there, so if you're looking for them, that's where they're going because of just the need to make them a little better. So here we have Dr. Hawkinson's vibrational scale. And I'm sure I might have mentioned it before, but when I did the video of when I show the swinging back and forth and then the desire to just stay neutral, get into the neutral position and then go up and down, I never really explained this side of it, the more rational or thinking side of it. That was more of what you can see. It was more of what you can see and like a visual view of what I mean about swinging back and forth, because most people can understand that. It's very basic and simple. So I wanted to go a little deeper into where I got that idea and what it really means, sort of in a different viewpoint. Like if you're more of a numbers person, even if you're not a numbers person, I think it's very easy to understand what we're trying to do here. Now, when I did one of my classes for the Introduction to Peace with Me, I noticed then that most of these, let me take a step back. If you go Google Dr. Hawkins vibrational scale or go read the book Power versus Force, that's where this comes from. And these are just numbers that represent, let's just say, speed of vibration. So on the lower scale here, we have shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, etc. They're all lower vibrations, 20, 30, 50, 75, 100. And he tested these a certain way in a scientific way. You could read the book if you want. I started to read it again. It's a little involved, so if somebody's really interested they can read it, but if not, it's not necessarily. And then as you raise your vibration, so as you evolve, so in my eyes, as you remove feelings off of your true ego and your true energy, you'll vibrate faster. So again, if this is your true essence and ego and it's vibrating at a certain speed, it'll vibrate at these higher speeds, this 700 to 1,000. If you keep piling crap on top of crap, stuff on top of stuff, feelings on top of feelings, it's going to slow down the vibration of your ego. Right? So as you remove these layers of feelings, the vibration, it hasn't changed. It still is or has always been a certain energy pattern, but now it can actually vibrate because it doesn't have the crap on it. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So we are going to look now. So what I noticed when I did one of my first classes is that most of these words down here can really represent feelings. Like shame is a feeling, guilt is a feeling, apathy, grief, fear. Okay, as they go up, maybe they don't necessarily represent feeling, pride, courage. Could, yes, but you're starting to move more to something else, let's just say. And then when I was doing this video or writing up this board, I noticed that willingness, acceptance, and reason, those sound more like to me not feelings nor emotions, where I had originally called them emotions in my class. These things look more like notions, sound more like notions. I mean, reason, I think, is definitely a notion. Acceptance certainly can. It could be a state of being, but whatever. And willingness, these all sound more of on the thought. Okay? So these could be more body stuff, Not necessarily, because you still use your body when you're being your emotion also. But if you had to, then this is your mind. And then your more soul stuff, or your emotions, or your ego, or your energy. Those are, it seems to me, were more love and joy. I even had originally thought, okay, peace and enlightenment. But then I thought, more of those are kind of states of being. When you're being peaceful, when you're being enlightened, or you are enlightened already. Where this is maybe being, oh, we could do that. This is a being, and this is where this is an are, right? This is where you already are. So as, I could use as you remember and express, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. So this is basically the idea that we're trying to do. We're trying to stop swinging back and forth, get to a neutral position, and then from the neutral position go up, like this. But again, like I say in that other video, very easy to go down when you're in this neutral position. When you are, let's just say this is a circle, and this is our neutral position, say like here and here. If you're swinging back and forth in this circle, and I say in the other video that you can swing in circles in a good way or in a bad way, whichever way you want to look at it. But one of the points that I thought was really important to understand, that if you are in any other spot on this circle, for example, say the circle has degrees, 360 degrees, and they're all different experiences of the same event, right? I can get into that another time. But the only location where you can actually go up or down is at this spot. Or I guess in theory, if you stop up here, I guess you're already there. But really, we were mostly swinging here. There's another video which I can't find. I have to find it, because it shows that if you stop, if your momentum at this, somewhere around this area, you should fall back down, and then the swinging should get less and less and less, and you should drop to the middle. But anyway, so what we're trying to do here is more on an intellectual idea or an intellectual viewpoint instead of a physical one like these, is see what this really all means. I'll come up with acronyms for all of these so that people can understand where, if you find yourself, like, point out where you are on this scale. And it just doesn't always have to be where you are all the time. It could be where you are in a specific issue, but other issues you're not. Like, for example, my friend said to me, well, in relationships, you're so easygoing. I was like, yeah, maybe in relationships I'm somewhat easygoing, knock on wood, but not in all, and some other things. Some other things are really, I'm not. I get angry, whatever. So, and, don't come in my living room when I'm talking about certain topics, because, you may be a little surprised. But I'm not hiding anything. That's just the way I am. So, and I have no problem with that. So anyway, I came up with an acronym for guilt, and I'll do it in another video, but just so you understand the idea of what I mean, this is a gross understanding. So it's a more broad understanding. Let's look up gross. It's general or a large scale, not defined or detailed. That's what I mean here by gross. So in other words, your understanding is not really defined. It's really not pinpointed. It's really not detailed and deep. And it's a little bit like you have a gross understanding about something. You have a general idea about it, but you don't really know the specifics. So that's what I mean by gross in the acronym GUILT. You have that gross understanding. You have a general idea, but you really don't get it fully. Of the issue, illusion, or illustration, which again, I've said millions of times what that is. Lost legend of time. And legend here is the idea of what really time is meant to be down here on earth. What you're trying to do, that story, the fable, storybook, the myth. You've kind of lost the idea of why we're here on earth. So again, The Little Soul in the Sun, great book by Neil Donald Walsh. The little soul's up in heaven and says, I want to experience forgiveness. Another little soul says, okay, I'll do something to you, something wrong to you, so that you can then experience forgiving me, but just remember that you asked me to do this. So when you have guilt, you've really lost the whole understanding of why you would do something that maybe you'd be guilty about or feel guilty about, or somebody making you feel guilty per se. So there's just a little bit of a gross understanding. You don't really have the full understanding or grasp of the issue, the illusion, or the illustration, right? You've lost this legend of time. You've lost the whole reason for the story of time, okay? And the reason why you do that, though, see, there's a good point, and there's a good reason, again, so that you forgot the story or the script. Okay, that's what I wrote here. And again, remember, forgetting or forgotten, if forgetting is good, because you can't remember if you don't forget. And forget, my acronym forget that you saw before, is for getting. So it's for, F-O-R, getting something. That's why you forget, so you can then get it. But anyway, okay, so then I have the positive version of guilt, where it was indulge and love the legend of time. So indulge yourself in the story, feel guilty, like guilty indulgences. I don't even know if that's a term, but like guilty pleasures. So just kind of look at it on that. So I had this amazing dinner last night. It was absolutely delicious. It was raw, basically raw. I could have walked away, not prime rib, ribeye. The rib was about this big, and then the dessert was like an apple crumb with ice cream on top. It was just absolutely delicious. I mean, and the meat was raw, really raw, so I love it that way. I don't like tough meat because I think it sits in you more. I think when it's raw, it's better. But anyway, so that's what we'll do. We'll go through, I'll do acronyms for all of these, and then most of these I already have acronyms for. I wanted to mention here, when I talked about these are emotions, right, and your ego and your energy. There are a lot of different emotions. When I looked at this, I thought to myself, how can there only be joy and love as emotions? But then I thought back on my acronym for joy. It's just open you. So when you open up you and be who you are, that opens up, I guess, an infinite number of emotions and ego and energy that you can be. So it really is all encompassed in this joy word. And then love is just let the other vibrate and express. Okay, so just a few other acronyms here. So basically, just like to recap it, if I haven't said it yet, we're basically trying to raise our vibrations by releasing our feelings, right, or using them. So let's go to feelings. I wrote here, and again, I say it a lot, feelings are either breaking or making your life, making or breaking your life, whichever way you want to do it. I wrote another acronym for feeling, and it's the fuel. Okay, so the fuel, either to exalt or ebb your life. The illusion, issue, or the illustration is now growing, going, or God. And again, God is just go and do. Because God has thoughts and ideas, but he didn't have a physical body, so he couldn't do it. That's why he put us on the earth, so that we can actually go and express and be and act out his thoughts, okay, his concepts. Now, at first I had put elevate, but it didn't work well because I couldn't find an or to it, and ebb is the only thing I could find. So I like it better. This is how a lot of times when I write the first word of the acronym, there's something that forces me into changing the word, and it comes out so much better. So ebb means, if you look at the origin, it means away from. So it's that ebb and flow in life, but the ebb part is moving away from something. So really moving off your path in life. It's like the fuel of your feelings can either drive you, it's the fuel to put you in that car and on the road, the car is your vehicle, and get you moving. It's the energy for your body, your vehicle. One of the ways, that or emotions. Right now, in my mind, those are the only two fuels that fuel your body, not on the physical level like food, but just on this emotional level and so on. So this fuel is either driving you, you put yourself on the road and you're going down your road the way you're meant to go down the road, or you're driving yourself off the cliff. That's the idea of making or breaking your life, when a feeling is making or breaking life. So the fuel is either ebbing, moving you away from your goal in life, driving you off the cliff, or it's exalting you, which the origin of the word is out. I think it says out here. Out or upward, okay? And high, exalt. So EX is the out or upward, and exalt, and the ALT is high. So that's when you're driving up the mountain, or down the mountain for that matter, in your life, your feelings are making that. Now, very important point here, if you're meant to be the villain in this lifetime, and we need villains on this earth, otherwise we can't forgive anyone. Again, go back to Little Soul in the Sun. So if you're being the villain, your feelings are driving you down that road and you're being quote unquote bad, you're being the villain, that is not breaking your life. That is making your life. If you're not meant to be the villain in this lifetime and you're doing bad, quote unquote, things, then it's breaking your life. It's not actually whether you're good or bad. So it doesn't matter which of the V's that you are. It's not inherently good or bad, or it's not inherently making or breaking your life. If you're the villain, you're breaking your life. If you're the virtuous one, you're making your life. Absolutely not. There are many times in my life where the villain part of the skit had to be the villain. Otherwise, I couldn't be the virtuous one. And I couldn't get what I was supposed to get. So please, 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 if you don't get anything else out of this, when you're being the villain and you're meant to being the villain, that is making your life, and that's good, right? And you can read that in Conversations with God too. So that is my new acronym, or another acronym I have for feelings, to try to help you understand what we're trying to do. So if those energy patterns, those swinging back and forth, those cycles and circles are making your life, then you may not want to change these feelings. You may not want to release these feelings. You may not, if you're in one of these places here, it may be the purpose of your life. It may be part of the skit, play, or the movie, whatever. You don't have to rewrite it. You can rewrite it if you want, but you don't have to. Then you're okay. And then eventually you stay in this, because like I say, like I always read when I read this, I don't think desire is bad or wrong, right? Some people may think this is wrong. Some people may see this is wrong, this is wrong. Maybe all of these people think are wrong, but they're really not wrong. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But desire, I don't have a problem with. Pride, I don't have a problem with. Courage, I don't have a problem with. I actually think they're all wonderful feelings, quote unquote, even though they're lower vibrating energies. So nothing is good nor bad. It is what it is. So, and then when you move out of them in certain areas, because again, each issue in your life or each illusion in your life, you have relationships, you have finances, you have friendships, you have, your careers. It's all kinds of different things that are happening, not just one. So in relationships, maybe you're really good. Maybe in work-related stuff, you're not good, right? Good, again, we really always so forget and fall back into that labeling everything good and bad, right? But really remember what that really means. So as we move and raise our vibrations, we get into more of these notions and these notions, emotions, and states of being. So I just decided this morning to write, because I don't think I have acronyms for them, so I made one for willingness. It's when your will, and I might have said that in the past, that your will is very important. My dad and I were talking about that once. You stay alive because of the will to live. So think about that. Will is extremely important. So your will, and that's something inside. I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's something that stirs inside of you. I think I might have an acronym for it, I'm not sure. But the will is now growing from neutrality, okay, from here, because now we're going to willingness, to express your ego, so now to express more emotions and ego, of yourself or your soul, however you want to do it, in the scene. So in whatever event is happening in your life. So that's what willingness is. Now you've gotten to the place where first you're neutral. You have all of these feelings. Then you get to a neutral state. And then people can imagine that. I'm like, you know what? I'm all done with those feelings. Now I'm just like, neutral. But now from here, where do you want to go? So if you lived your whole life from a feelings place, vibration, you might want to start moving toward emotions and ego and your true essence, your true energy. Oh, I like that, essence. I don't know how to spell it, but you get what I'm saying. So you're now willing to be open to this, now raising your vibration even higher so you can get to this love and the joy. Okay, so now acceptance. Okay, I wrote one for acceptance here. Don't think I ever had one. It's you accept all nature created on earth. And what that really means here, I write that nature, meaning not just the trees and the grass and whatever and all that type of stuff for nature, but all that exists on earth. Does that make sense? I mean, most people, when they talk about nature on earth, it's like I said, the trees, the grass, all that natural beauty per se. But why isn't nature also your body, who you are? And then if not that, why not everything that's natural to the earth? Everything that appears and shows up on earth, events, physical stuff, your body, the trees, everything. That's what I mean there. If you don't like it, you could say all that now has been created on earth, right? All that actually sits here and exists on earth. And like I say before, in my PEACE acronym of personal evaluation, acceptance of your choice, and you'll evolve, if people can't accept that they chose it, then at least you have to get to It's acceptance of your circumstance. You have to at least, I think, to get anywhere on my book, that accept that something is actually happening. Because if you're going to deny something's actually happening, I guess you could still get on this journey with me here, but you're going to have to get to the fact if it's, it's here, it's happening, right? And I guess to a degree, it could be a dichotomy. It could be that, okay, so if everything is an illusion, things aren't really here. But you have to play the game. If you're not going to play the game of the illusion, then leave the earth. And why stay here? But anyway, so that was what acceptance was. And then reason, I made here, remember. I don't know why that got blocked out. Okay, so remember, you exist as a soul on basically earth, okay? And then on here we have to operate on earth, be open, observe, now, okay? So, and I made a new acronym for now. I don't think I've ever used this as an acronym for now. It's the notion, right? Notion is operating now. Like this idea that God had is now in full operation. It's physically happening on earth. And when I put here when, and when indicates a time. Well, when are we doing the play? When are we going to execute the play? What time does the play start? When? So that's all related to now, meaning now. All related to time, right? So now is that notion that's operating, you're now taking a notion and you're actually operating it in time. Okay, so I like that one a lot. Okay, so those are the two for reason. And then I've said my loved one many times, joy, peace, and enlightenment. I've said many times. So to recap this whole idea, basically what we're doing from that video where I show this swinging and all of that stuff, what we're doing, and if somebody is more of a numbers person versus a visuals person, or just to give you a bigger understanding, we're taking a speed, 20 is a speed, 50 is a speed, if you think about it like that, and we're raising the speed. We're going higher and higher and higher with the speed of the vibration of something. Again, everything vibrates. This vibrates, this vibrates, this is all vibrating, but the density is determined by the speed at which it vibrates. So us physical things vibrate slower than spirits, for example. And if you don't understand that, or like, if that's not part of your understanding, then it's okay. But to be physical on the physical earth, you have to slow down your vibration to be here, right? So, but we don't necessarily have to be that slow. We can move to these different higher numbers, right? Here. So that's the idea of what we're trying to do. And we're going to do it, one way is by understanding what each of these words mean, because we understand numbers that raise, but if we understand these words, then we can move past them. We can release the feelings or use them, right? And, then get into all these other areas. So I hope that makes sense. So thank you. channelpeacewithme.com. If you go on, subscribe to the newsletter. If you'd like to be in my test group, put a comment in the comments or email me somehow, or I think there's a contact form on the bottom of the website where you can actually contact me and give me a message. If not, I think if it's not already there, I'll put a phone number I have where you can call me and leave me a message, and then I'll contact you back. Okay, thank you and have a great day. As I was erasing the board, I realized I didn't explain neutrality. So neutrality is that point, right, from which you can go up or down. So because again, when you are swinging back and forth, it's at this point here where you can then shoot up or fall down. If you are here, say this is a rocket ship, okay? Say this is a rocket ship, and this is the back part of it, and the engine thrusts when you're on this angle. You will not end up here. Say this is our target, this is our goal, peace, up here, okay? If you thrust your energy this way, so your energy, when you're in the pendulum mode, the swinging back and forth, your energy of this spaceship is really moving side to side. But let's just say you straighten, or say this is the spaceship and this is the front and this is the back, and it's moving this way, right? As the accelerator pushes, it goes this way. As the accelerator stops, it falls back down and starts to swing again. Okay, that's the back and forth pendulum. If again, this is say this is a spaceship and you're at this point and you try to thrust, you're going to go this way. If you're at this point, you're going to thrust and you're going to go this way. Even if you're right like here, not quite here, but here, when you thrust, you're just going to miss the mark. So you have to thrust when you're here, right, to get up to this goal position. Now again, if you stop swinging like this and then you settle here and you don't thrust, you could drop. But that's beside the point. So that's one of the ideas that I'm trying to really get people to understand, that their energy pushes them. It creates a swing or momentum, or it can create a thrust up and down, right? Or an up, and then or if there's no energy, if your energy starts to drop, and that's perfect. It makes perfect sense. If you're in this position and you're at a neutral state of 250 because the energy is there, maybe you can even have the thrusters, if you can imagine, holding you in this neutral space. If you step on the gas, you'll go up. But if you let go of the gas and your vibration lowers, your energy lowers, the speed which you vibrate lowers, you're going to drop. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So, if it doesn't make sense, put a comment and I'll try to explain it better. And when I say things like this, they're very abstract. They're not based in something. They're not specific to what's happening in your life. So you take the idea and then you superimpose it on your life. If you have, in a relationship, for example, you have shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, what have you, anger, you're vibrating low in that particular, because you have a specific feeling that is sitting on top of who you really are, and you can't get to the joy. You can't get to being who you are. Does that make sense? You can't get to the ego, or the energy, or the emotion of you in that relationship. So we want to try to take those feelings off so that the essence of really who you are can vibrate. I know I keep saying that, but it's so important. It's really just a simple concept, but it's so important. So again, I came back to this video just to make sure you realize that at neutral is at a point in which you can go up or you can go down. Okay, thanks.